Hello, my name is Mariana and this is a reading for Virgo. So Virgo, as usual, I've done this reading with my own deck of cards, so the cards you'll see are from this deck. And Virgo, this reading for you seems to be taking you to this memory lane, back to your younger days, back to your childhood actually. And I feel like that, you know, just going back years and years and years into your life story, it feels like it's bringing back with it a lot of painful memories, and it's all coming right after the other. But I feel like there are maybe two in particular that are maybe the sharpest or the strongest or the most impactful ones that are, it's like they're actually like you know, when we have this balloon, this is the image that I'm seeing, like when you have this balloon and like the status quo is like to keep the balloon there up in the air, as if like to keep something that is really tricky, right? To contain air. How do you contain air? So you do that with this balloon and hoping that it would stay there the longer the better, right? It's almost like it's like this acting as this isolation layer. So the way that these memories are coming through, it's almost like a needle, right? Or something sharp, something that is just like a pointy thing, or, you know, a pen or anything, but something sharp, right? It's coming through as a needle, but it could be a knife also, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's like this balloon is popping, meaning that whatever was contained within this balloon, which I feel like it's almost like old gas or old air, you know, when a room is not aired properly, right? It's been closed for years and years and years, and then suddenly you open the door or open the window and that smell of, you know, old comes, and it's really disgusting, at least in the first few minutes that you're dealing with that. And so I feel like this is what you perhaps are dealing with, Virgo, at least from the cards that I'm seeing. But the thing about, you know, this air that wants to flow, that wants to leave this container, that wants to breathe again, it is like, it's like, it's almost like those memories were buried so deep inside that it hasn't seen the light of day for so long, or it hasn't been touched upon or talked about in so long, that I feel like this is the necessary trigger, right? Or this is the necessary visit to that memory lane that is going to unlock these kinds of things, and for them to see the light of day, actually, because we're ending with the sun and we'll get there. But I feel like there is like the need to, you know, just bring some new air, some fresh light and some fresh air into this deep bottom part of your subconscious, perhaps, Virgo, that is needing some fresh air, basically, and fresh light. So the reason why I'm saying all of this, you know, going back to this memory lane, is because of this Six of Cups. And actually this Six of Cups was pointing downwards. Maybe it's because of the direction of these hearts, so they're all, it's almost like there is a little bit of weighted down energy, right? Feeling the room, or maybe not the room, or just, you know, room meaning your psyche or your consciousness. But because of this pointing down of the hearts, it's almost like I was seeing you trying to bury down something, you know, if some time ago you have buried something, but suddenly it came through again. It's almost like now, in seeing those things again, it's like It's like your attempt to, you know, just put them in a deeper place where they cannot be found in a way. So there is a lot of maybe sadness, or maybe just the sense of longing, or maybe, you know, I don't really know what kind of memory you're revisiting at this point, but I feel like, you know, in any case, because of this Page of Cups that is coming next, I feel like it's something that is, it's like it belongs to your very early age, or it's like, you know, it's below 7 or 6 years old, because, you know, I've heard or I've read somewhere that, you know, from the age of 7 is when you start, you know, being more introduced to this human social kind of experience, right? So the spontaneity of, you know, the very early years are not lost, but they change, right? And I feel like, so something, you know, previous to your age of 7 maybe, but who knows, that can vary from one person to another. It's just the number that came to my mind. So because it's the page, right, it's almost like this is such a sensitive memory of yours, and I don't feel like it matters whether it's a good memory or a bad memory. I feel like it's just one memory that brings a lot of emotions back. And it's almost like all of these emotions are resurfacing because of this 8 of Swords that is coming through as bubbles of air. So you see the direction here. It's like we have 6 cups pointing downwards, and then 8 swords pointing upwards, and they want to go up. It's almost like they want to breathe, they want to, it's almost like you want to put, you know, you want to bury some sort of memory that is maybe painful, right? But the painful memory is also associated with you keeping the memory buried, if it makes sense. It's almost like the work that you have to do to keep these bubbles from popping or from resurfacing. It's like the tendency of any kind of emotion is to be felt or to be expressed, right? Or to see the light of day, because it's, you know, the metaphor that we're ending here with the Sun card. So I feel like in burying these emotions or trying not to express them, it's like the push and pull is getting imbalanced in a way that it's like you are trying to use things or tricks or whatever it was that you that have worked in the past, right? It's been buried for many years, so, you know, it's worked for some time. So you're trying to use the same kinds of tricks to keep this buried, but, you know, just the strength of the burst of this energy wants to come through, right? And it doesn't matter, because I feel like no matter how much you try or how much you try not to feel, it's how I'm getting right now, it's like it has to be felt. And maybe not all of it all at once, because of this card here, the 2 of Swords. So you see here, there are 2 swords here in the middle, you know, and there are 3 here and 3 here, and here there's only 2. So it's just that it's natural that, you know, old memories, when they find a gap, they want to rush through, right? Because, I mean, I'm, you know, personifying emotions or memories, but in a way that it's almost like they are bubbles of air trapped inside this very dense water, muddy water, right? And so maybe the resources that you had or the coping mechanisms that you found as a kid, they worked when you were a kid, right? If it makes sense. I hope it makes sense. It's like the longer you try to keep them there, the longer you try to force them there, it's like the more obvious they're going to become, or the more it's like dealing with this, the longer you postpone in dealing with this, it's like the more aggressive it's going to get, right? And in particular, because of maybe two, the way that this card came through was actually talking about 2 degrees. And actually I heard 2 degrees, but then I instantly filled the gap in a sense, which was 2 degrees of separation. So I don't really know what that means. If you have felt this sense of separation, or feeling like there's this longing to get back together with somebody that you have separated from a long time ago, or whatever it is, I feel like among all of the things that are buried together with this memory, or these 2 memories, it's like they come together all at once. But really, it's like you don't have to deal with all of them, because that could be really overwhelming. And that's the reason why you're trying to keep, using the same coping mechanisms that you've always knew, right? And that they have worked until, you have come to this point in your life, Virgo, that they're here, and they are, well, they seem to be unavoidable, right? Because the longer you don't face them, it's like the more aggressive they'll feel to you once you face them, right? And so here, with this last bottom row, we have the 8 of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and the Sun. So another 8 here. This is the reason why I'm saying this. It's like the longer you postpone whatever was coming through as, just not simple bubbles of air or harmless bubbles of air, but it was like just, trapped air inside a place that it was natural for it to find a way out, right? It's almost like this is the way out of your unconscious, right? That everything that was buried wants to find a way out, in a sense. And 2 particular ones that are maybe the most important or the most significant, right? Because they are, the roots of the thing that, you wanted to bury in the first place, for, the reason why you did it in the first place, consciously or unconsciously. Because as I'm saying that, like, maybe you did it at such a young age that you don't really remember even what you put there, or why you did it, or how you did it, or when you did it. Like, there are many blank spaces, right? But with this 8 of Pentacles here, I feel like these things that are not dealt with, or that have not been dealt with while you were growing up, right? As a self-protection mechanism, or just, a way to preserve yourself, right? To survive, in a sense. It's like they have been crystallized, right? This 8 of Pentacles, it's almost like the bubbles of air here that were flexible and malleable, and that were, it's like they could adapt, right? It's like the longer they stayed in that trapped unconscious place, they were becoming crystals, right? They were becoming rocks. They were becoming something that was tangible, and maybe even like some sort of physical symptom, right? But I feel like this could be, affecting mostly your work, or your whatever you do for a living, right? The 8 of Pentacles being work-related issues. So it's almost like the crystallization of these kinds of things that were not dealt with when you were growing up. It's like now that you have come to this place of the Queen of Cups, it's like you have the maturity to deal with these things. But since it's been like a long time, it's like they have become like a solid rock, that now the approach is no longer the same that you were doing when they were in this state, right? But if we think of, you know, just bubbles of air and then they becoming, I don't know, like ice or something, it's like, is still something that if you change the temperature, meaning if you change the frequency of your heart, right? It doesn't matter like the amount of trauma or the amount of things that you have stored back in your subconscious mind. I feel like the sun is here to point like it's like the regulation of the temperature of the room, right? It's almost like it needs to find the light again. It needs to find the warmth again. And so in avoiding to see the sun, in avoiding to let these things resurface so they can meet, right, the surface of the water, instead of being buried deep down under this just this mud, right, on the bottom of the ocean of your memories. It's like, if you just let them find their natural way, it's almost like these memories will find their own escape, will find their own way through the water, through the consciousness, to meet the sun, because it's like, it's how it's supposed to be, it's how they were designed to be, right? And it's almost like they will become, it's almost like in seeing this new temperature, in meeting this new temperature, in seeing this light and having received this warmth from the sun, it's like there is something that happens inside your heart, right? Especially now that you have matured, being this Queen of Cups. There is something that happens because of the presence of the sun, meaning there's a lot of awareness, but there's a lot of trust in the power of the sun in a sense. It's like, it means that in trusting that changing this temperature, changing the frequency, changing the ability to trust that the memories, even the bad ones or even the good ones, right? It doesn't matter really. It's not about qualifying the memories. It's like letting them take the route that they were supposed to take when you try to keep them down or buried or hidden, right? So that was, you know, a work of its own, and maybe that is what is just keeping you from focusing in your work, in a sense, right? It's like, this is almost like 24/7 kind of work, right? Keeping these things shut or quiet, which is like an impossible task in a sense, right? And to be honest, you know, in letting these things come to the surface to see, you know, the sun once again, it is also, you know, helping to melt whatever was crystallized. So I feel like, you know, in trusting that this is the better approach, and that whatever coping mechanisms worked when you were a kid, and that suddenly they don't work anymore because now you have grown up to become an adult, that, you know, it's like there are things that are becoming a block instead of something that is just locked inside your subconscious, right? So I feel like in letting those things free is like, it's going to take you to this warmth also, right? But Virgo, I'm going to pull more cards for you, and also I'm going to pull from the astrological runes in the extended. So if you want to join me, I'll be happy to see you there. If not, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.